It was a fantastic evening of racing last week at the Circuit de la Sarve, aka Le Mans. But we go back over the pond to America this week as we go to a legendary track. As the Race Anywhere World Series visits Road America for round 4 here on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Craig King, and with me on the microphone is Edward May, with Daniel Handover on the cameras as he recovers from illness. We wish him a speedy recovery. Tonight, of course, as I was saying, we visit Road America here in Plymouth, Wisconsin. Track was opened in 1955, and in a rarity, it has not seen any major alterations to the track since 1966, sans the addition of a moto layout. That track and this track now is 6.5 kilometers long. It's how we know it, and we love it. It hosts almost every major racing series in America. IndyCar, IMSA, the SCCA event. It did cars, it did Rolex, it did everything. And even does Xfinity, and this year we saw the return of the NASCAR Cup Series. Many people in iRacing will know this track as well. We'll have loads of experience, of course, from it. We talk about the corners of Turn 5 at the bottom of the hill, the kink, Canada corner, and that Turn 14. Now, Edward, iRacing had their GT3 series here recently, so it did allow these drivers to get some sort of practice. And of course, that's a 40-minute series. This is 75 minutes. I think that practice will come in handy tonight, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Craig. And of course, with the 2 mandatory pit stops, it opens up wonderfully for drivers to try a little bit with strategy. Of course, you've got the long, straight, flat-out sections going into turn 1 out of the exit of turn 14 across the start-finish line. Coming up turn 3 as well, all the way down to turn 5, flat out through there. And then after turn 10, all the way through the kink into Canada corner, flat out as well. So plenty of time for drivers in the slipstream to save a little bit of fuel, might be able to get the jump on their competitors in the pit lane. But qualifying is the order of the day. That is what is coming up now. And Craig, you can talk us through some of these first flying laps go through. We can see the 79 of Henning Haug out on the track, just getting up to speed, coming out of the pit lane now. So this won't be a flying lap, but it's definitely going to be one that I think Henning will be trying to get to the top of this AM class in.
Yeah, it is going to be crucial qualifying around here, because once again, we are at another track where, as Ed was saying, a fuel saving is needed, and it is going to be vital what they do on that first stint. And for some of these drivers, it is very crucial. The amateurs are out at the moment, and it is very close at the top, let's be brutally honest. Tejas Dalhug is on 215 points. Dean Timms and Dylan Kinch both on 205. Edison Mangueira and James Warren both on 180. That's your top 5. And it's very close, especially with the 100 points and then goes down. Every position is vital, and especially on a track like this, where it is very tight. One mistake from one driver a few cars ahead of you is going to cause a lot of issues. Everybody knows, as I was talking about, the kink. You get one driver just go a little bit too hard or just clip the grass on the exit, they will probably not realize it, keep their foot in the throttle, and of course that's the worst thing you can do, and you'll just lose the car. The back of the car will snap out, you will spin, and it causes a chain reaction. And of course, I think we've all seen those Twitch clips where, you know, one car causes an accident, and then you see a guy 5 cars back, he's slowed down, and he's got cars still flipping, he's got cars on its roof. So that is what they're going to try and avoid, and you can see some of these drivers are giving themselves a little bit of space around here. But I am also curious, it's 34 Celsius, that's 93 Fahrenheit. To me, that is still a hot track here around Road America, so we've got to really factor in the tyres as well tonight.
Yeah, a very hot circuit indeed. So some of the drivers might be going a little bit more slower on this outlap, taking into account the track temperature, not wanting to get subscribed too much. You can see now it's down to 34 degrees according to our software. So not as hot, but still relatively toasty out there. We don't want to be overcooking the tyres too much, especially because then you only have a few laps to set on the board here at Road America. Ferrari is, of course, a car that I think some drivers might be preferring this evening because of its straight line speed, such a strong car on acceleration, and also, most importantly, here at Road America, top end. Another car that's popular, the BMW. You can see Frederick at the moment in the number 35 BMW coming down into turn 5. Picking his braking point, getting hard, getting the turning in nicely because there's a little bit of a groove on the inside. You've got to avoid that. Make sure to use all of the runoff area. iRacing allows you to do that, doesn't punish you too fiercely for it. Then coming up into, well, up the sort of underneath the Corvette bridge. It's so hard, isn't it, to pick your turning in point because it's, well, a blind apex.
a blind apex. And there's a lot of understeer in some of these corners, especially that little kink there at turn 7. Got to watch out here. And then you also just got to make sure you don't get too far on the grass here into turn 8. And then, of course, the carousel, turn 9 and turn 10. A lot of cars think they can take this flat. You cannot. In a GT3, you're having to hit the brakes when you come around here. And that is quite a bit of a challenge, just to make sure you don't use too much of the brakes. Into the kink, this dreaded kink. Gets it right. That's what you want to see. And now it is flat out here for the slow-mo driver. He's going to be heading down the straight here into 11A, into 12, into the kettle bomb, straight into Canada corner. A lot of runoff here you can use on the exit, and he uses it. Oh, and he spins! And I've done the commentator's curse into the wall as well. Can he get a lap? I don't think anybody else is going to get around him. We'll wait and see. I think everyone's managed to get by. Yeah, he does spin it around. That's very good. That's going to really heat up the tires, unfortunately. But that's not what you want to do. You can use that run-up, a lot of that run-up. In the old days, there was an off-track area there, but nowadays, you've got so much space there that you can do it. But we are seeing times finally come in. Mark Bailey's the first one. Edson Manguera just is now coming in to pole position. He had a purple, and Magna Yolan is just out there by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, Manguera goes third fastest at the moment, just ahead of Sankvist in fourth place. The Ferraris do seem to be going strong, but as we say that, Hidakawa goes fastest, quickly then beaten by a Ferrari. We said the top speed is something to watch out for in those cars. Good. Let's have a look. How can I pronounce his name? Well, I can't pronounce his name because there's another driver that's gone fastest. There's another name I'm going to struggle to pronounce, but it's the number 98, Seithaug, going fastest. Salterhaug, I'm here, going fastest with a 2-minute 5.819. But look at how close the times are. He's just been bested now by Liam Ahern in the 74 BMW.
0.022 between Salterhaug and Liam Ahern, the VRT driver there, Liam Ahern, in the BMW, taking over the slow-mo Lamborghini there by just the barest of margin, and he is on another good lap around here, as his other drivers. Now remember, you can see that timing. You don't want to see yellows, but of course, with how some of these drivers had a really fast lap, we may see that those yellows may just be, close to what they were doing, but they're keeping it green at the moment. A lot of these drivers just holding on. Ahern's gone really wide into turn 5, and I don't think that will help him there. He's going to lose a lot of speed here. On board with the Ferrari, just out of curiosity, while we're looking at some of these drivers, BMW, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, Audi, Ferrari, Lambo, BMW, very mixed bag, as expected with the skill of the amateurs here. We do see this a lot because there's a lot of good drivers here. Salterhaug has not gone for another lap though, so we are just looking at this. I'm just trying to see, does anybody else have any extra time they can get? 2/10 when you think of Gazeki and Lapsian. That's going to be tough to get.
I reckon Dean Timms is a driver you're going to expect to improve now. Didn't set a representative lap time at all, did Dean? So the racing driver going to try and find something here. Wide though out of the final corner, and into the pit lane comes Goethes. So no improvement coming through from the number 4 Ferrari. He's going to have to hope to stay third fastest, but with drivers getting quicker and quicker, that might not be the case, as Kinch now goes into 6th place. Peels off to the side of the road and reverts into the pit lane. Good lap time from the Lambo there, the number 31. Good time. The lone Mercedes here in the AM class at the very least. Ashraf El Harad comes out of the final corner, evades a spinning 27. That was
Peridao.
The Francois Peridao. So Peridao having a torrid time in qualifying, will be staying 15th fastest. Haddad comes across the line. What improvements are we going to see? An improvement inside the top 10. That's going to be good news for Haddad there. Getting inside that top 10 bracket. Dean Timms only improves up to 12th fastest.
That's a bit of a surprise there for Dean. I know he is struggling at the moment, but that is hard. And Werner S just comes ahead with a purple out of nowhere at the end, but it looks like it was an invalid lap there, unfortunately, there for Werner. But yeah, just watching him now. Now, is he on... Just trying to see if he is on any other laps here. I think, he's just on his 2nd lap right now. We did see he had a purple on that last sector, but it was unfortunately an invalid lap. So he is now going around again. What is his times? He has been really good hot lapping here so far this season. So it's going to be interesting to see. He really wants to look at one of those wow, a 205 would be good for him right now. Anything in the 205s would be good. That would get him into the top 5, and he's not doing bad for Panda Racing right now.
He's just overcooked it slightly there, hasn't he? Coming up into turn 6 and into turn 7. He seems to be clawing it back, but I don't think this is going to be enough for 1AS.
Wait and see. I know he has been a little bit quicker here. It's still yellow on his screen, but we don't know. That's indicative of his times, and he has been up a little bit. He pulls to one side, and he's going to have to start. He aborted the lap. That was his last lap. He's got no... I think that might have been a time issue because the Pro-Ams are now coming out, so that might have been an issue there with timing. As we can see now, the Pro-Ams are getting ready out there, and well, they're starting to go. I was talking, Edward, how close it is in the amateurs. Check out the top 6 in Pro-Am. Svenny Mattisson, 220. Cody Pride, 215. Ethan Bass, 205. Will Richardson, 200. Alvin Kjellberg and Joachim Code, both on 195. That's why I said top 6. We got a tie for 5th. This promises to be close, and we may see a bit more dominance from the BMWs here, I feel.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what they can do out here tonight. Obviously, plenty of drivers opting for the BMW. It is a very strong car at the moment. Both BMW and the Porsche is favoured by some of the top drivers at the moment on the iRacing service. Just down to its nice handling characteristics, really, the BMW. It's so consistent, so easy to drive, really wringing the neck of it. You can extract so much out of it so quickly, whereas certain other cars do need to be a bit more of a dab hand, perhaps, and really get to know the car, understand it, put a lot more work in, perhaps. Going to follow Eric Benson, though, on an outlap, trying to get good track space, which is key here at Road America. If you can maybe as well help out a teammate, which he does have in behind him, they might be able to work together and see what they can do in terms of the slipstream, because that will help your lap time to no end, flat out on 3 sections of this circuit, able to gain a load of time, which could be the difference between pole position and even something like 10th place is getting that slipstream right.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen a lot of the slipstream working there with teams during the season, especially when we've had the likes of Daytona, Le Mans. We've had these long tracks that allow you to just get a bit of speed. So Road America could be interesting, especially with the dirty air. You're asking a driver to almost sacrifice his time, though. And the risk reward with that dirty air would be, well, like I said, it's risk reward. That's why they call it risk reward. Dirty air here would be so effective, especially when you look at like the carousel, and then you've got to make moves, especially here as we've just seen James Pearce coming up turn 13. Known as the Bill Mitchell corner, which I used to say if I said it too fast, the Phil Mitchell corner, but we won't go into that option. Again, Eric Benson does show green, but he was on a pit stall behind the start-finish line. That lap is not official, neither is James Pearce and Daniel Sedgley. I am looking forward. I am looking forward really to just see the time differences here, because in practice there was not a lot between everybody. They were doing 204s in practice, and they were, we were looking at tenths between the drivers. So it really is going to become to a battle of who doesn't make the most mistakes here. As we've just seen James Pearce, as I say that, I think he just got an off track.
I think James Pearce might have gotten away with it. We'll see, though, with his lap times, if they are valid or not. Going to have a look at Chatterton now, coming down into turn 3, going to have to really power out nicely. They could have used a little bit more of the exit, but it still seems all right for the moment. Just getting a banker lap in, then going absolutely pedal to the floor for his final time out of the circuit. Drivers have only really been able to get maybe 2 or 3 laps out, of course, time permitting, because then you have the next set of drivers that need to get out on track, the pros after the Pro-Ams. So, of course, time is of the essence for all drivers here this evening. Look at the lines, though. You can just see perfectly illustrated how difficult that turn 6 is. You go over the crest after turn 5, then you need to turn in and just hope that you've got the turning point in right. It's all about muscle memory and trusting the car. It's not brake traction, because it's so easy as well. The rear of the car can get light brake traction and spin you around. So I think that could be something to consider, maybe not only in qualifying, but also in the race.
Yeah, I must admit, when I first learned this track, it was on an HPD and then an LMP1. And you've got to learn to just be a little bit light on the braking with those things. But at the same time, ever since then, I've been unable to do anything when it comes to braking at that point. A lot of people like to brake really late, but unfortunately, I was unable to do that. Cody Pride got it right, though, with a 2:04.799, as other times are coming in right now, but it was slow on his final sector compared to when he started his lap, so that's going to be interesting. Times are starting to come in now. Svenning Matters with a 2:04.922, and Will Richardson throwing in a 2:05.567, and now some more times coming in. You can start to see them coming in. Ethan Bass, the lone Ford, the Lone Ranger on his own. He's had a couple purples there. What did he get? He had a pole position with a 2:04.777. I mean, the funny thing is, in practice, he did a 2:04.666. So he's matching his times at the moment. But a Ford at the top of the table after one lap. Pinch me if I'm dreaming.
Oh, we love a Ford GT. It's very rarely used, but it's going to come into its own here on this track. Obviously, Road America, the American beast, the V8 machine, seems to go on song here for Ethan Bass. Fastest at the moment, but that can all change as other drivers start to set their times and come through a little bit quicker. Cody Pride, definitely a contender. He can still find a little bit of time there. Sector 3, leaving a bit on the table as well. Coming up Sector 6, showing that he can find a little bit more out there. James Pearce as well, running a little bit wide coming out of turn 7 into Hurry Downs. That could be really testing for him at the moment. It's not the easiest car to drive, of course. The engine in what I would call the wrong place for the Porsche means that the weight distribution is a little bit tricky to try and get it right. And he's fighting the car all the way through the carousel. Gotten on the power just a little bit too late. Having to run the car through, deal with a bit of understeer, which is surprising. Usually the Porsche tends to oversteer. Having to lift out again, fighting the car. Look at how much he's having to saw at the wheel on the corner exit to keep the car straight, to keep it on the right way forwards. Going now into Canada corner, pitching it in nicely. But again, getting a bit of a slide, 4 wheels sliding, losing time. This is not the session that Pearce would have been hoping for. He's still got another lap time to come through, of course, after this one. But soaring at the wheel, using all of the tyre grip, is not going to do him any good. Using the tyre, getting heat into it as well, means his next lap, he could start to struggle there as well.
Now, we just see some more times coming as well. There's a lot of yellows and a lot of greens at the moment. Nothing fast at the moment.
Purple in the middle sector, so to cut across.
But he's pitted. He had an issue because he was right behind Valentin Amblad for the whole of that lap. He was unable to do anything. Valentin Amblad does come around with a 2:06.358, and that would explain it. More times coming in right now. Joachim Code, unable to do anything. Chris Chatterton, unable to do anything. Ryan Hamilton is unable to do anything. What can Thomas Reiter do? He's had a mixture here. He's had a mixture of times. By the way, Cody Price, you can see in the pits, did not improve. What can Reiter do as he goes over the hill? He's going to be probably the last one to set a time. It's a 2:05.147. It puts him P5. But again, I'm repeating myself. There is a Ford pole position at Road America. I don't think we were expecting that.
No,
he had one of the fastest times as well in practice.
Yeah, it was very quick. I'm not sure if that'll last, though, when the pros come out in force. One that I was really surprised, though, James Pearce, 16th in Pro-Am, all the way down 30th overall, and that's only going to get worse when the pros come out there. So not the qualifying session James Pearce would have been hoping for. His car didn't seem to be working for him. Maybe there's a bit of a setup issue or just wasn't able to get the lap through. As soon as you got heat into the tyres, it creates a vicious cycle, a downward spiral where heat into the tyres means you lose grip, you slide more, which gets more heat into the tyres, which causes more sliding, lowers your lap time, and it becomes so difficult to get right. Look at all the cars waiting here, though, on pit exit. Sean Campbell, good to see him out here after racing in the... he was actually racing just the other day, I think, in the Mazda MX-5s. Seems to be a pretty good hand in the GT3s if he's going to be in the pro class here.
Well, we talk about that. He is a former champion, of course, and lost the old season due to a countback. And, of course, we talk about the pros. Alex Bennett, 220 points. Harley Horton's on 205. He is not here today. Reason being he is off to Donington for some racing this weekend. Alex Gow's on 205, though he is here, as is Kaz Huguenot. And then Sean Campbell, as you were talking about, 200. So that is, again, that is really close. It has been back and forth, and there's been a different winner every race in the pros, which is fantastic to see. Don't forget, we've also got the likes of Nicolas Labiche out there as well, fresh off another week of racing in the Porsche Esports qualifiers. As you can see there for the Irano BMW. It's such a beautiful livery to see. And again, I just wanted to point out, because while we're just waiting for the pros to come around, I was saying the BMWs would be dominant. The top 10, as we can see, all Pro-Ams. Ford, let's just ignore the Ford. That's the anomaly. We take a sample size here. Porsche, Lambo, BMW, Audi, BMW, Lambo, BMW. The only one I'm a bit surprised at there is the Audi, because I thought the Lamborghini was still stronger than the Audi.
Yeah, it is very intriguing. Of course, if you remember back in the olden days of iRacing GT3s, the Audi was unbeatable, but now it seems to have met its match with some of the newer cars coming out onto the iRacing service. The Porsche, very, very strong, as is the BMW. Of course, BOP has changed things around a little bit, because before the BMW was untouchable, but now it seems to have been brought back just a touch, and it's a lot more competitive than it used to be. Surprised to see that the Ferraris are as popular as they are. Obviously, the new car on the iRacing service, the 8 GT3 Evo, goes well down a straight line. Good acceleration out the corners as well. Could be one to watch here at Road America.
Yeah, definitely one to keep our eyes on. We've got some of the drivers just coming around here. We have got quite a few BMWs here, of course. Remember, the Pro field is mainly a BMW and Porsche. Wouldn't say a fest here, but it's mainly just their weapons of choice around here. So we'll see some of these cars going around the track here. What am I expecting to see when I come and see this? I'm going to say Sean Campbell is going to probably have a good time here. I wouldn't be surprised. Look out for Nicholas Labiche as well. Look out for the likes of those drivers in the BMWs. I think, as we could see with just the way the times were going in the Pro-Ams, that we may see that as well. But the pros, they have been setting similar times in practice. And in fact, Ethan Bass had the 4th fastest time overall. That just gives you an idea. But it is a case of Porsche, Lambo, BMW in terms of the fastest cars when they came around in practice. So that promises to be interesting. This promises to be very interesting. We've got 4 minutes when you think about it, because it's going to be two 2-minute laps by all of these drivers, sorry. Never ignore the Ford, says Ethan Bass in the YouTube chat. We'll never ignore the Ford. Do not worry.
We never will. But the focus, I think, as they shift away from the Ford and down to the BMW of Sean Campbell, what can he do? Like you said, a favourite for pole position. Would seem to go very well here. Hard on the brakes now at the 200-metre board, coming into turn 5, getting the turn in nicely, avoiding that dip on the inside, but getting the exit done perfectly. A little bit of a twitch, but carries good speed up underneath the Corvette bridge, braking, pitching the car in, getting on the power nice and early, using all of the exit curve, and then having to dive in just a little lift through turn 7. You can't quite make it flat out. Now down through Hurry Downs into turn 8. Again, there's a little dip, but you can actually use that to help turn the car through, which Sean Campbell does to perfection. Then through the carousel, maybe a tap of the brakes, maybe a little bit of a lift before picking up the throttle just at that concrete barrier there on the inside, getting full on the throttle, hard out now on the run into the kink. See if you can get it as flat as you dare, pitching in a little bit of a lift here because of the track conditions, hotter than you probably would have liked to go flat out. So now down into Canada corner now, picking your braking point just between the 400 and 300 meter boards, and then nicely through, cutting the inside, using all of the run on the exit. And then this corner here up through turn 13 is so fun, just to send it up over the crest, run a little bit wide, and then hard on the brakes here midway through that slightly different coloured tarmac, turning it through brilliantly turn 14 and coming outside. And this is going to be a good lap time for Sean Campbell.
Yeah, Kazuga just gone pole for 2:04.505. What's the time for Campbell? What's the time? It's a 2:05.709. And finally, we've got two pros faster than the Ford, which I know is quite hilarious. Alex Gow then throws in a 2:04.5 flat. And the times are still coming in. Alex Bennett, we see Victor Yaurin as well. He just comes across as well. Alex Bennett's going to cross the line. He's had a purple in this. Can he go 2:05 to 2:05? Is that 2:05? Sorry, it's a 2:04.605. Sorry. Times are absolutely flying in right now. Furtwängler 2:05. Oh, look at these times. I'm trying to say them, and they're just going so fast. But the top three separated by a tenth, and the top two separated by 5 thousandths after the first time. And we're still seeing times coming in right now.
Yeah, we do. Alex Gal in that Ferrari, flat out, going 5 thousandths faster than Cass to take provisional pole position. But I can't see him out on track now, so he must have
Cass
had
is towed.
a
Cass is towed.
mistake.
Sorry.
He's out. So is Cass. Cass is out as well. So the top two out of the running in qualifying. We're going to see this was just into the first corner. Overcooks it slightly. You can see a tap of the grass on the inside and aborts the lap there into the tyres. Fortunate for Cass. But that means that Alex Bennett and Sean Campbell have a chance to try and go through uncontested into the pole position spots. But look at Veerman. He runs slightly wide through Canada corner. Could be an invalidation of the lap time.
So's Campbell. Sorry, so's Campbell. He's gone wide at the kink.
Oh, no.
Everyone's making mistakes right now. He's pulling to one side to let everybody through, and we're not seeing a lot of times here. I think the only person, Danny Raps, might be one person we've got to look at right here. What can he do as he crosses the line? He'll be one of these last drivers to set a time. It's a 2:05.341, which is last lap. It's an invalid lap. Last man, really, we've got to look at, I think, is that pro driver. It's Nicholas Labiche. What can Nicholas do? And we do see as well, that's Victor Yowen as well. He's had some really good times here at the moment. What can Victor do as he starts to look at coming around the final corner, slides that Porsche around the last corner, up the hill he goes. What can he set? Nicholas Beach had to pull in as well. He had an invalid lap. 2:05.093 was Victor's last lap. He comes across. It's a 2:04.631. And he goes into fourth with a great time.
That was a lovely final corner. You can see he just guided it through brilliantly, kissed the apex, got all the way out on the runoff. No sort of twitchingness from the car as well. And that was probably where he found that time right at the end there for Victor Yowen. But now we're going to follow the Mercedes up across the line. Harry Wills. What time can he do? Promote himself up the order somewhat. As he just up now, 12th fastest in the pro class. Will be starting in 24th place. Maybe not what the Mercedes driver was hoping for, but still a good time. Gets himself a little bit higher up than he would have done. What a qualifying session that was, though. We said the Ferrari down the straight line is going to be strong. Alex Scaldo. Ooh, that was a bit scary, wasn't it? Only 5 thousandths faster than Cass. Look at how this could be very exciting for the race.
To be very exciting, but also the Pro-Ams. You look at the top 10 right now. 2 Pro-Ams were in the top 10 fastest times of qualifying. One of them, of course, and I love saying this, is the Ford. And the other one was a Porsche. But these times are so tight. When you look outside those top drivers in the Pro-Am, everybody's so close. You look at the pros, everybody's so close. The amateurs, everybody is so close. I'm really looking forward to this. And it will come down to that track state. It might be a little bit later in the day. It won't be darkness, so it might be a little bit cooler. I still think we'll see minimum 29, 28, 27 Celsius. I think that's what we might be seeing when we come to that qualifying. I'm really not sure what I'm going to be looking for, because yes, the Ferrari does have that top speed, but the Lamborghini's behind. Huguenot, Bennett, they're going to be wanting to fuel save. The Porsche, it does like to do well when you start coasting off the throttle. The BMW's the BMW. So those are the ones I really am looking forward to. I'm just trying to think to myself, really, when I look at this track, what am I expecting elsewhere from that? Not a lot, really. Like we said, there's going to be a lot of fuel saving. Remember, 30 minutes. You look for 30 minutes at your pit window, and then you go again. And we're just going to see this. Look at this slow-mo here. Look at how that is with that number 10 there. That's Alex Bennett there. Just fantastic. That's one of my favorite. I say it's one of my favorite corners. I love Road America. Every corner is one of my favorite corners.
I don't think Alex will be finding it to his favorite corner after that. It is, though, like you mentioned, such a fun corner to send it in, coming through Hurry Downs. You pitch it in nicely. There's a little bit of a dip, but that can help sort of almost channel the car through. You sort of hook in and get through nicely. I'm going to look at the replay for number 14, Nick Madsen, coming through turn number 7, and it's just such a fun corner as well. Another one after you come through turn 6. Turn 7 quickly follows. You've got to carry a nice amount of speed through. She can do, to be fair. It's so close to flat out, but not quite, which means it's a challenging corner as well. Sean Campbell might be a little bit disappointed, actually, to be P5. It was a good time, but Victor Yowen, right at the end, with that amazing run through turn 14, was, I think, what sealed the deal to get up onto that second row just ahead of BMW.
Yeah, some fantastic times all the way around. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, it's going to be a lot of. There's not a lot of overtaking chances around here. A lot of it is done on the straight. So, of course, turn 1, if you're side by side, you can make the overtake. Turn 5, of course, down into turn 8 is a risky one, but people do like doing it. And of course, kind of the corner. But in a format like this, with 2 mandatory pit stops, 75-minute race, you don't really want to start looking at those moves until the end. You want to start your fuel saving. So don't expect a lot of overtake. Them will probably be like a broken record during the race. We will be mentioning that as well. Also, what we will be mentioning, of course, is the sponsor of the series. This, of course, is the Race Anywhere World Series, powered by Race Anywhere. And once again, it's nice to let you know that they have started their pre-orders for the Thrustmaster T248, their new entry into the entry level, well, the mid-level of sim racing wheelbases. And of course, they have their hybrid system there, which is looking very nice, actually, I must be honest. And of course, Race Anywhere do have their little discounts every now and then. I was having a quick look on their website today. They have a 16% discount on a quad monitor bundle, and that could be 3 monitors with 1 at the top, or that could be 4 anywhere. Definitely something to check out there. Some of their rigs are fantastic to look at. But while we wait for the session to go live, we will leave you for just have a small break. I know you'd love to hear us talk for hours on end, but I don't think everybody wants to hear me for 2 hours straight. We'll be back hopefully in the next 10 minutes when the race session will be live. And don't worry, 75 minutes of Road America in GT3s will be soon, so stick tight. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the race here on Absolute Sim Racing of the Race Anywhere World Series. Now, before the break, I was saying maybe the temperature will get down. I was wrong. It has gone down. It's only gone down to 32 Celsius. That is 90 Fahrenheit. And I'm just watching the practice, me and Edward May, on the microphone with me, and Daniel Hanover, of course, with the camera work. Just watching the practice, and I'm seeing Edward, I'm seeing a lot of group practice here. It's going to be indicative of what we're going to see. It's pack racing.
Yeah, I think we will do. We'll see drivers try and work together, especially on these long flat-out sections, maybe setting a bit of draft. Teammates trying not to squabble with one another, as well making sure that tyres are kept in good stead, because while there are 2 mandatory pit stops, there's no mandatory tyre change, and drivers will inevitably be trying to get all of their tyres lasting up until the end of their 1 hour and 15 minute or 75-minute long race, whichever way you want to say it. It comes to the same length regardless. They'll need to look after their car very, very nicely to have any chance of getting something really strong out of this race. Of course, Alex Bennett, expect to see him challenging up towards the front of the field after an impressive qualifying session. Put him up at the front, but not to the top, was it?
No, I made a joke last week about the two Alexes can't be separated, and you've just proved that they can't be separated. We're talking about Alex Bennett, but once again, we have to talk about the other Alex Gall, in the Ferrari, just taking the pole position. That's going to be interesting. They have also just seen as well, we always talk about it, not only are people just doing their practice, getting used to the track state, used to the temperatures, used to racing in groups, they're also doing pit lane practices, because it is a very fast pit lane entry here, which I do love. But checkered flag for practice. Barney's, you just saw, was waving it there. We are getting ready for the race, and everyone starts to grid up. We will give you the top. Well, we've got a full pace lap here, so we can go. We can probably give you the full list here. We'll see how we can go. Alex Gow, of course, of VRS Satellite, taking the pole position. Kaz Huguenot will be P2. Alex Bennett and Victor Yowen will be on the second row, and then it is Sean Campbell and Mats Furtwang on 5 and 6. Nick Madsen and Frederick Podrick will be 7th and 8th. Martin Naglic will be 9th. Augusto Calasimi will be 10th. Denny Rates will be 11th. Harry Wills will be 12th. Robert Veerman, 13th. And Nicholas Labiche is 14th. He did not set a time in practice. And then when we come to the Pro-Ams, all I can see is this Ford. That's Ethan Bass. Pole for the Pro-Ams. Beside him will be Cody Pride. Svenning Mattis will be next to them, and then it's Daniel Sedgley. Then Thomas Reiter and Michael Patterman will be after them, and then Joachim Code and Thomas Dandridge. Eric Benson and Will Richardson will be on the next line. Then it's Alvin Shelberg and Chris Chatterton. Chris Wally and Ryan Hamilton will be behind them, and then Valentin Amblard and James Pierce will bring up the rest of the Pro-Am field. I told you we had a lot of time to go over the whole of the field here. We get to the amateurs, and that's once again is a very big field in the amateurs. Liam Ahern will be leading them off here. Taylor Sauerherg will be next to him, followed by David Meekin and Goetz Gasecki. Then Ingo Lapsian and Henning Haig. And then it is Dylan Kinch and Mark Bailey. Remember, keep an eye on Dylan Kinch. He is in the championship battle. Atred El Haddad and Magna Yonlin will be then after that. And then it is Jonathan Aston and Dean Timms. Dean Timms, remember, one of the championship contenders, did not set a lap time. Edison Manguera and Ola Salvis will be next up there. Francois Pedreu, he had that crash on qualifying, will be next to Werner S., who did not get a timeout. And Frederick Roy, on his own, in 47th, will be on the last lane, last row even. 47 cars. I mean, we have got the space for 47 cars, but it's going to be a bit chaotic when it comes to lap traffic.
Oh, yeah, it will do. So we've got the whole of that and more to look forward to, especially up towards the front of the field with Alex Gall, Alex Bennett, Cass Hogenhout, Victor Yowen, and of course, Sean Campbell running up towards the front. Any one of those drivers, in fact, any one of the top 10 could realistically come out with the top honours this evening. But I just want to shine light actually on the BMW up towards the front, Sean Campbell, who's going to be coming off the back of a very good evening in the MX-5, the BSR MX-5 trophy that's broadcast here on Absolute Sim Racing. Took another race victory to add to his tally so far in the MX-5. So he's going to be on form, in a good mood, this could be a chance to get another race victory in 2 days here, but this time in some GT3 machinery, which is just a little bit quicker than an MX-5. Just a bit.
Just a little bit quicker. In history here on the World Series, Sean Campbell pulled off a double header back when it was the 2 sprint race format in a McLaren. And he did it very well with a fantastic overtake around the outside of turn 14. Was some fantastic racing there. But now he's in a BMW. Now he's up against it. He's got some of the top drivers around. The Conrad Racing team with Alex Bennett and Kaz Huguenot on that set on together in 3rd and 2nd are just going to be ones to watch because they worked together in the last race. It allowed them to get around some of these drivers to make a fantastic finish. That is one to watch out for. Basically, watch out for anybody at the start of this race. But again, even when you look at it, Nick Madsen, Augusto Calasimi, both together as well almost. There's going to see a lot of teamwork going on here.
Yeah, we might do indeed. Look at that, though. The Ford, the fantastic Ford, driven by Ethan Bass up at the front of the Pro-Ams here. Cody Bride alongside him. Could be exciting to see how they manage their start procedure. But we will look now towards the front. Alex Gall is going to be leading the field through the final corner, and he will decide the pace. He will decide when the cars go up to racing speed. Here you can see the gap being left to the pace car. Let's go backing up the field just a touch. Can he do, though? Of course, the Ferrari strong acceleration, strong at the top end as well. All the characteristics you need to go well here at Road America. We're about to go racing here.
Yeah, we're about to go racing, and he has held up the field. Pace car speed is 96 kilometers an hour. He's gone to 80, and now he just cranked it up to 90. Let him get rolling. Let him get rolling. He's just going to dictate the pace here. He'll go when he's ready to go. Green flag does not mean go here, but we wait. We wait, and Alex Gall is going to catch them snapping if he can. He's got to watch out for the Conrad beside him. He waits for the very last moment, and he still waits. Green flag. Barney's waving. We don't care. It's all about Alex. He's got the last moment. He's got to wait till the last moment. He goes. He goes now. And it's going to be very interesting to see behind him because the Conrad Sim Racing, they're going to be holding up the first 2 positions after that. Or can they? Victor Yawin is going to try and go around the outside. He's unable to. Sean Campbell will have to slot in as well. Campbell looks like he wants to make some moves. Meanwhile, behind. And it's almost a touch together. Nick Madsen almost coming together as he tries to make a move on. Who was that? He was trying to make a move. It's Matt Burtwangler. That's the Pro-Ams are starting.
Yeah, that was close, but the Pro-Ams have started. They've been able to close in because of the long start taken by the front runners. Alex Gall, who took a little while to get up and running. But you can see now Ethan Bass. But it's Fitzy Ford. And a good run up towards the front. Under a little bit of pressure now from Pride, though, coming down into turn 5. Pride closing the gap down, finding his way through, but then coming to the AMS. And it is Liam who leads the field through. You can see close fighting now between Dean Timms trying to hang it around the outside if he can of Arson. And I think he has, he's got that move locked in. Good stuff from Dean Timms to hold it around the outside through turn 3, which is definitely no small feat, let's put it that way.
Yeah, now I'm just looking as well. Something happened in the Pro-Ams, and an Eclipse car is hitting an Eclipse car. Chris Wally getting tapped in the rear by Ryan Hamilton, goes into his teammate Chris Chatterton, and Chatterton out of the race because of that. That is unlucky to see. We'll grab a replay very shortly with Francois Padeo trying to make moves here, and he is trying to hold it around the outside. You know what? I think he may have managed to hold on to that. Around he goes. He gets it down into turn 7. Down to the hurry downs. He has the inside line here, but I don't think it'll be long. He does have to pull into Frederick Droid there, and Frederick will take that position. It is action everywhere at the moment. And here you go. The Pro-Am through the kink. What can they do? Ethan Bass leading them on. And there's not a lot of change at the moment in this Pro-Am field. And that's Martin Nedlick as well. Martin Nedlick's had a spin on the last corner. Has he just clipped the grass? He has. Got to get going before the Pro-Ams get around him. He does. He may even just pull to the side. He's going to pull to the side. He's going to try and get his speed up. This will be a little bit chaotic when the Pro-Ams come forward. You may see him very shortly. I think he's going to back up to speed.
I think he's all right.
Yeah, I think he's all right.
He's got up to pace now, but it's close, isn't it? Coming into turn 1, Bass under a little bit of pressure from Pride. But of course, the straight line speed of the Ford GT, the top end, and the V8 grunt seems to go really nicely here at Road America. As we said, the pure American muscle car, the GT3, goes so well here, it seems, behind the controlling grip of Ethan Bass behind the wheel. Dylan Kinch now, the Tiki Sim Sport. Keep your eyes open for the car in 7th place in the AMS. Lamborghini trying to find a way through on Haug to try and get up into the lead, but can't find a way. And here's a replay of Chris Chatterton coming into turn 5. Oh, and there's a contact. That was the contact between the two Eclipse Racing Team drivers. But it was kicked off, wasn't it, by a little touch from a Lambo.
There's Martin Nedrick as well, just having that spin we were talking about. That is a common spin there. It's very hard in that final quarter to make a move on, and unfortunately, that is what has happened here. And look at these lovely sights at Road America right here. Harry Wills is in a little bit of a battle there with Nicholas Labiche, and then after it's a car that just goes spinning there. I didn't see who that was going down into turn. It was Dean Timms, actually. It was Dean Timms just having a bit of a spin. And that's a big one because that's one of the championship contenders, early championship contenders for the amateurs. So that's one we'll have to look at a replay very shortly as we just continue to see Harry Wills, the lone Mercedes in the Pro-Ams, battling on up that Bill Mitchell bend. It's very tough not to overdo it there. And then coming into the final corner, does he put a tyre in the wrong place? He does not. He's got Nicholas Labiche in front of him. It's just a game of survival. Nicholas Labiche, he needs a good result. He hasn't had a good result since Daytona. And for the pro driver, he kind of needs to get back in that fight.
Yeah, he kind of does. But following Labiche now, who's looking more in front than he is behind at the moment and trying to get ahead. Or trying to get up to, rather, Pochez. Cody Pride again right up the rear bumper of Ethan Bass into turn 1, but not opting to make a passing move. And this could be the time of the race where drivers get ready for the fuel saving phase, as we just see what happened to Dean Timms here, spinning around outside of turn 5.
Yeah, Cody Pride now, he's looking to make moves on Max Furtwängler. That's going to be close. A little bit tight there, but I think they made it through. Yeah, Matt Furtwängler. Frederick Pochet, sorry, I apologize there. It wasn't Cody Pride. He is holding on to that position. They're having a little bit of a battle. Don't think that's what the likes of Nicholas wants to see or Harry Wills wants to see, because these guys, if they start battling it now, they're going to lose any chance of getting to that lead toe. Remember, if you're new to our timing tower, if the numbers are in yellow, it is less than a second. If it's in orange, we are talking less than half a second. And you can just see there is a lot of orange right now and a lot of yellow as these guys start coming down. Augusto Kalimi as well. He's having to battle off Danny Reitz here at the back of the field. Ideally, they want to get to the slipstream. They don't want to be caught up in any battles at the moment. But, you know, if the car in front of you is slow and you want to get ahead, you're going to have to make a choice at some point.
You really do. It's all about, though, making those choices and being committed to them. You can't sort of half-ask them. You need to fully go for it when the opportunity presents it to you. Going for it at the moment is Gisech for the Race for Fun number 4 Ferrari. And now we're just coming into the kink. He's really just trying to find a way through. We're going now on board with Ingo Lapsien for NJB Performance up behind 22. Can't find a way through just yet. Now into Canada corner, hard on the brakes. But it is, I think, now the time of the race, Craig, where we start to see the drivers think a little bit more about the long term. Think about the 1 hour and 10 minutes now to come, and the fact that they need to look after the fuel as well in order to get the best strategy in the pits.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of drivers already go for lifting. We've seen as well Cody Pride in the front of the Pro-Ams with Ethan Bass comes down with a good run going into turn 1 and he decides, no, I'm just going to go for a lift. And you may hear it with some of these drivers here, the like of Indigo Lapsian and David Meakin. Lapsian won't go for a move here. And yeah, you can just hear a little bit there, probably a bit early braking as well. They are giving themselves the space, especially here with Robin Veerman right now, making a move on Harry Wills. It looks like he's gone up a position. We will see that very shortly. He's managed to get going. He's that type of driver that right now is thinking, okay, I'm fast enough to get ahead to the queue. I'm 1.5 seconds behind that secondary queue. I need to be there. And we're going to see this move right here. It's just going to be textbook. down, late braking into turn 5. Wills gives him all the space there, the respect there, and Wills could have made a move into turn 6, but I think he just decided, you know what, I'm not fast enough, I'm not going to hold it up here. The goal is to get to the end, and that's what's happening now with Yonland. He's going to go wide out of that corner. It looks like the carousel. No, it isn't the carousel, it's down into turn 1. And now and that was that replay there. We're back now with the Pro-Ams. That is what's happened at the moment. Well, the Pros, sorry, not the Pro-Ams. Veerman, for the effect at the moment, is making moves. Can he catch that secondary queue, I think?
Yeah, he's starting to catch up just a touch, but it's all about, like we say, getting the run through and getting into the rhythm now. It's all well and good going for these exciting overtakes, trying to take positions, racing hard. But sooner rather than later, you can find mistakes starting to creep in, so it's better just to manage the car. But that's not what's going on here. You can see Will's going one way, then the other, trying to get a move on Robin Veerman. 42, Esports blue car holding the inside line into turn 1. They do go side by side, wheel to wheel, as there's been a moment up ahead. Several cars off. They have to take evasive action because there's a car stopped in the middle of the circuit, right on the racing surface, which is where you don't want to be stopped. Right in the middle of the road. They all get through that so
big one.
Well.
It's a big one. I'm sorry to interrupt. It's a big one because it's Kaz Huguenot P2 in the race. He made the mistake. We might be able to see it very shortly. He made the mistake and Victor Yowen came together. Here we go. We're going to see this right now. We're going to see, and you'll start to see Kaz Huguenot will lose the car just a little bit there, just probably a bit too much. And oh, there's a little tap there. There's a little tap, and then Calasini comes in with a massive one. Everybody else gets around, but you can see Harry Wills having to go around on the grass to get around. That was a big one. The question is, what damage has that done? Alex Bennett is now the rest of the queue, is 5 seconds behind Alex Gall. Alex has actually paid off with the best situation there. Bennett, Yowen, Campbell, Furtwanger, Hodges. That is the rest of them from second down, because Alex Gall is in the lead, and you'll just see here with Robin Veerman. This is not one you want to see. You've got the coolest car left. You're trying to hold the inside. You see the car, and out of nowhere, there's a car sideways.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting, but also scary stuff when you're involved in that fight. And you can see Jowen having to slow down, letting several cars through. There's a slow down penalty approved from somewhere, but I'm not sure where, because there aren't really many places.
Might be damage because remember he hit that car. He hit the car quite hard, and I reckon we'd be surprised if he does have some sort of steering damage here. It would not surprise me. I'm going to have a quick look myself when he comes in.
He's coming into the pits.
Going to the pit. He has got steering damage. I'm looking. I was trying to think. Can he? And it's really hard on my cameras to see. I've really got to change
his
my
right hand down quite a considerable amount, actually. You could just see on the camera shot there. Really starting to struggle. Sorry to cut across you there.
All right, that's all right. I've cut across you, you've cut across me. Everything's all going well at the moment. We're doing fine. Just a shame when this happened, though. That was a big one, though, in the pro field. And it's just, like I said, I don't like patting myself on the back, but I said that if you get an accident here at Road America, it's going to cause an issue for a few cars behind. And how many cars had to take evasive action, and how many cars hit him that weren't there right ahead? That is the situation when you come to such a thing. There weren't just six match me. Yonland sliding there. Yonland just did not find the apex, and unfortunately that's happened there. Valentin Ablard also in the pits. He's in the pit lane. Not sure what has happened there to Valentin either. It may be taking it early. Well, a bit too early for a pit stop. We've only had 10 minutes. 10 minutes and we're already, look at the action we've had.
Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, there's another car off the circuit. Who was that? Was that Mangueira? I think that could have been Edson Mangueira off the track through turn 1. We'll try and see if it was. I just caught a slight glimpse of it though. Look, Edson. Yeah, into the first corner. Just overcooks it slightly. Too much speed into the corner. Goes off onto the gravel but keeps it out the wall. So he's only lost time, not got damage, and especially at this early phase race, you want to avoid damage like the plague.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising. I think Frederick Podrietz may have some damage as well. Just watching him as well. He's lost the back of this train almost. Nicholas Bish going by him as well. So that could be happening here. But this is the back of the pro field. That is Denny Rats on Harry Wills. He made that move early. I think Harry Wills not having the best of times. He was having such a good run up with Veerman, but then had to take evasive action with that situation early the lap previous. So Rates is going to be going ahead. Now, this is the battle I was looking for. The amateurs, they are really starting to get interesting when you think about it, because look at this little group right here. It's not the leaders, but Liam Ahern is 0.8 of a second ahead of P2. Then it's Ryan Hamilton with the Pro-Am, so ignore him. But then it's David Meakin. And from David Meakin onwards, you've got Goek Kaseki, you've got Ingo Lapskin, you've got Dylan Kinch, you've got Henning Hay. It is a nice little train of amateurs right now. And it is all, everybody just have a pick and mix in terms of car classes as well. So there is going to be some strengths and weaknesses every corner they go on, and of course every straight. And look at that queue though, it's fantastic. The Nomad is the odd one out, of course. That is the Pro-Am driver, Hamilton there. But this queue is so nice to see. It's one of the nicest things to see on a racetrack is cars just darting away. And of course, they're not going to be looking for any aggressive moves here. One of these guys pulls out to make a move, they're going to lose their train, they're going to lose their position, and they will have to just stay here. There's going to be a lot of fuel saving in the amateurs, and Devin Kinch at the moment, I think he's in the best situation. He's got double toe. He was looking at a move there on Ingo Lapsian. I'd say double, it's almost triple, but then again, he's got double. Ingo Lapsian's got double. Gaseki's got double. David Meakin's got one. That's the only weakness here. He is the odd one out when it comes to positions here. Can he make a move? I'm not sure.
Yeah, oh, there's a big drama there. There's Thomas Danbridge. Just does he keep it out the wall? He maybe grazes the tyre barriers, but avoids major damage. But being forced around the outside through turn 7, so many cars racing in close proximity, I think there was always bound to be contact, and unfortunately Thomas comes out worse for wear. But there's still side-by-side further in front. Chris Wally down the inside, trying to find a way through on James Pearce. Can't get it to work. So the Eclipse Racing team driver loses that position, V12. But in behind through the kink, good challenge into Canada corner if he gets a good run, gets a good time in the slipstream. Closes in, you can see it on board now with the 28. Chris Wally not able to make a move into Canada corner. But that was a lot of action, all of a sudden erupting through turn 7.
I think James Pearce went around the outside there for an overtake at the carousel. That would have been one hell of a move. Okay, granted, they did touch, but the commitment by both of those drivers to go too wide at the carousel was fantastic. You normally see that with prototypes on GTs, not like this. And you also don't usually see Nicholas Labiche having a bit of a challenge there. That's Matt Furtwängler right behind him, just really giving him, well, I'd say he's giving him a bit of hassle there. But Nicholas did overtake Max going into turn 1. So that just gives him a little bit of time. That BMW really proving its worth right here. That'll be a Ferrari, a Lambo, and 2 BMWs in the top 4. But still, we got to talk about Alex Gao. It's 4.5 seconds. He's lost time. He's having to fight that time back over the rest of this field. Nicholas Labiche, like I was saying, that is one to really just keep an eye out for, because he's really making moves. And look at this, Veerman, Madsen, they're making moves, almost coming together right here. And they're both going to go a little bit wide here, but Madsen holds on to his car, as does Veerman. The run there from Madsen, can he do anything? Middle of the track goes Veerman. Fantastic defense there from the 42. And Robin Veerman holds on, but he does not got a good exit here. Madsen's going to try and go the inside. They almost come together, trying to find a place in the inside. He cannot. Maybe he'll set himself up for Canada corner. It's all kicking off all of a sudden, and we've still got another, 10 minutes until the first pit stops.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't there? The drivers can, you say, go for their first pit stops very soon if they want to. I think if you are any of the drivers, you want to go for as long as you can. Try and extend the stint and have a shorter one towards the end, because the longer you can spend with the car lighter, I think the better. Robin Veerman, though, under immense pressure now as Madsen goes a little bit too deep through turn 13. Overhooks it slightly, but regains control through turn 14. Loses a little bit of touch, though. So it gives Robin Veerman a little bit more breathing space, a bit of time to sort of maybe not worry too much coming into the first corner, and can just focus on hitting his marks now. Because the more time he spends looking behind him, the more that the cars in front start to vanish into the distance.
Yeah, and you can hear that Madsen is just lifting some. We'll go back at this, and look at this with Dylan Kinch right now. Look at this. First to ninth. You can see, I was looking at this timing tower. Look at that sea of orange. That is amazing. I'm waving over the computer screen as I look at this. I don't know why, but you can just see this. It is absolutely incredible to see. And this is the amateurs. We were expecting this in the pros. We got it in the pros. We expected it in the pro-ams. We got it in the pro-ams. And we were expecting it in the amateurs. And I'll tell you what, they might produce the race of the day. Dylan Kinch is once again in that little battle where he's got a guy actually just up ahead. There is an overtake going on up ahead. That's a VRT of David Meakin trying to get around Ryan Hamilton. Hamilton had a lot of damage there, that Pro-Am driver. He is entitled to fight for that position. But with that much damage, you can see how much damage it is. Engine case, but behind there's an accident. What has happened here behind? It's Gazeki. Goetz Gazeki there. Has he just missed his braking point? Oh, he clipped the grass. He clipped the grass. And almost came into everybody. And that is unfortunate there for Goetz. So this 8-car train, I think it's gone down to 7 now.
Oh my word, that was all of a sudden what was, like you mentioned, a great fight. A little bit spicy, a little bit too quickly, so yeah, huge moment coming into turn 3. But we're going to go back to Ashraf El Haddad up in behind Bailey. Mark Bailey up ahead. But I'll tell you what, I love the sound of this Mercedes. You can just listen to it go up through the gears, back down, the nice deep guttural grunt of the V8. It's got a good run as well, going through carousel, but can't take advantage of it as the slot in behind the 77 and pick his moment. And it's all about finding the pace, finding the run, setting up moves several corners in advance really here, because while you can get good slipstream, if you are in this situation where you're following a huge train of cars, the other cars will have slipstream in front of you. So it is more about getting the moves set up maybe half a lap or so ahead of time.
Yeah, and of course, Mark Bailey is just a little bit out here. We'll just see this with Kaseki. You can just see, just caught the grass, and he's lucky not to collect anybody else there. But he just went straight in there, and that was unfortunate there. So, back to the Pro-Ams. We haven't talked a lot about the Pro-Ams, because Cody Price has basically just been on his own with Ethan Bass, just playing the safety game. He just understands what he's got to do. He understands that this Ford might have to take a bit more fuel compared to him, or a bit less fuel. He understands the situation. Ethan Bass has to try and look at how to fuel save. It's very hard to fuel save here, but Cody Pride, well, it's hard to fuel save when you're in the leader, is what I meant to say. Cody Pride, though, he is doing what he needs to. Almost getting tapped in the rear, though, from Freddie Mathis. That almost came a little bit close there. And I was just watching on the rear. You can just see the three of them all coming in a nice little group. These three are quite close together. I think they're separated by about a 0.8 of a second. And then you've got some Daniel Sedgley and Thomas Wright behind. But Daniel Sedgley would make it a 4-car train. But he's quite a little bit far out there in terms of the rest. But he will slowly come together. Like I said, 20 minutes gone. Pit window probably open in the next 5 minutes. So give it a couple more laps. We may see some drivers go for the undercut. And we have seen that a lot around here in the series recently. The undercut has worked out for some of these drivers. It's not worked out for most of them, but if you get an undercut, if you've got a space that you can just slot in with free air, maybe, just maybe. But at the same time, you can see Cody Pride, he really was thinking about making a move at the front there. And when he realized there was nowhere to go, he just lifts. Is he getting racy because he wants to try and get a jump in the pit stops and just use that to his advantage? Who knows? We can't really tell who's saved the most fuel at the moment, but I think it's safe to say I have seen Cody save a lot of fuel. I think he may be going an extra lap, a +1 compared to Ethan Bass.
Yeah, like doing. Is that going to work out in his favour, do you think? Maybe with a bit of clear air, could go for a brilliant in-lap with that space on the circuit. And see if he can leapfrog, of course. Lighter fuel, tyres still in fairly good nick. They've hit their sort of... They've gone past their best, shall we say, but they've hit the stage where they start to stabilise a bit. iRacing has recently put out a few tweaks to the tyre model, and they get to the point where the tyre performance goes off, then starts to stabilise before later on you start to feel the wear come through and the lap times begin to drop again. So for now, all the cars, all the drivers navigating this very nicely in a good stage where the tyres aren't too bad, and it is now mostly the focus on getting maybe the track position as well coming into the pits. You do often see in these sorts of races a flurry of activity when drivers battle because they know the pit stop races are coming up soon.
Yeah, we saw it last week. We saw it the week before. It definitely happens, and sometimes it is a case of I know that my pit stall is at the end and yours is a bit earlier. I want to make sure I get there first to give myself the advantage. Thankfully, with road racing, it is a non-collision pit lane, unlike in the oval racing where that would be very vital. But even still, just making sure that you get into your pit box first is crucial. Won't be for Cody though. I think he'll be very happy with his fuel saving. Teddy Matteson might also be fuel saving. Like I said, we've got to look at this. We're looking at maybe +1 for Pride, maybe +1 for Svenning. Who knows? But at the end of the day, someone's got to go with Ethan. I think Ethan would love some help. We'll wait and see. But you can just see all those numbers. But anyway, here is the amateurs. And they've just been close. You can still see, look how close everybody still is in the amateurs right now. And El Haddad is just battling on here. He's doing really well. He's made up a few places. He's now P6. He started, I think, near the mid to the back of the amateur field here, making some good time up here. We're just going to see a quick replay here. This is Mark Bailey of the VRT team into turn 5. Makes the move. It's a fantastic overtake on Dylan Kinch. You can just see, again, some really nice textbook overtakes into turn 5. Drivers really giving the respect that that they deserve and they give to each other, and that helps them as well. So Haddad moving up as well. You can see that train, and I think that's a train that you can just see with the timing tower. About a 4, 5, 6 car train here. Now, is that a car going into the pit? That's an early pit stop, and that's Mark Bailey coming into the pits. I did say the pit window is about to open. I didn't think they'd be doing it at the start of lap 12. Mark, that's a very risky move.
Yeah, it is, but sometimes you do need to roll the dice and try and come out on top. It's a big moment, though. Francois Hergiao off the road, off into the wall. Huge incident there, damage towing into the pits as well. Of course, the drivers are fuel limited at 50% of a tank, so drivers can feasibly come into the pits at even maybe 15 or so minutes and still come out with enough time to spare. But it's all about getting it through and looking after the car at this early stage as well, making sure that you set yourself up brilliantly for the final pit stop, which is when all the drivers know their positions and can then start to squabble right at the death. Looking back from Will Richardson though at James Pearce, battle that's very close together, 0.2 of a second at the margin, coming through the kink. I'd tell you what, that Porsche is looking very quick. Is he going to line up a move into Canada corner? It'll have to be a late lunge if there is one. Covered off by Will Richardson, who takes a slightly more defensive line. Could be vulnerable here as long as James Pearce can set up this move in advance and stay close behind through turn 14. He could be able to get a nice easy run through into turn number 1. It's a nice apex, slightly squirrely though on the exit from James Pearce, and he comes into the pits as, who was that? That's Joachim Schode. Joachim Schode off the circuit into the wall and towing into the pits. Oh no, making his way into the pits, I think.
Yeah, he makes his way into the pit. I think he just caught the grass. He did indeed. While that was happening, Eric Benson also went a little bit wide when he was coming around that corner, and he's side by side at the moment. We're just watching this replay. I'm giving you a radio right now, side by side with Chris Wally, and he does hold on to that position. Eric Benson just having a moment as well. All happening in the primes in just that split moment. And there you see Eric Benson and Chris Wally. Wally had a nice little run there, trying to make the move into turn 1. But when he got to turn 2, that imaginary turn 2, he had to yield. Will he make a move here? I do not think so. He's really close here. Do I hear a lift? No, he is going for it. I didn't think he'd get there. The slipstream is so strong when you come to the bottom of turn 5. But around the outside, as he clips the grass, does Wally. Benson holds on to it. That is a really nice defensive move there from the slow-mo driver. The 51, he's got my number. Gosh. I hate you, Eric, but I love you really. That's a fantastic move from Eric Benson to hold on to that position. But they are losing time. The more they battle like this, the more time they're losing. And you can just see that gap now between Benson, Wally, and Richardson is up to 4 seconds.
I don't know why you're so harsh on Eric for having your number. I always love it when I see drivers that I commentate on running my the number I tend to use in the races. It gives me a little bit of, go on, get that whatever number it is up to the top end. And you know, Eric Benson definitely doing the 51 proud. A very good time of things, isn't he? With that at the replay here, though. this was just a move. It's James Pierce getting overtaken by Albin Kjellberg, the Verve Racing Team Mint, the 53, getting a nice move done there.
Look at all those cars in the pit lane in the pros. Everybody that is not called Alex Bennett and Sean Campbell are in the pits for the pros. We're just watching this though, Mark Bailey. Wow, Dylan Kinch really making that hold there as he goes around turn 6 into the kink right here. Can Bailey do anything? He can't. Dylan needs some positions right now because remember, he is one of those people at the top of the championship battling on. So any move he can get is fantastic. Currently P12, he needs to make a move on if he wants to get anywhere. I'm just looking at these times though. Yeah, Bennett, Campbell, they are 41 seconds. 41 seconds ahead of every pro driver that pitted. And every pro driver has now come out the pit, and I think a couple of them taking over a bit of extra fuel, or maybe just going for a little bit less fuel. But Alex Gao has a 3-second lead over Nicholas the Beach, and that would mean Matt Furtzwangler did take a little bit longer in the pit. He was P5, and now Levish will go up into that position. All happening with the pros, and it's nice that everybody else has decided not to pit at the same time as the pros.
Yeah, it is very intriguing to see these different strategies coming through to the forefront, seeing who's going to be able to come out on top here. Nice rider in the BMW having a nice time of things in a close fight with James Pierce just in front. Alan Kjellberg quite up behind. Ferrari with a little bit of damage you can see on the rear wing. Could be impacting his speed not only through the corners but also on a straight with that extra drag being generated. Obviously mitigated, of course, by how strong Ferrari is accelerating and at the top end. But even so, you would not want to have any sort of damage really here, especially having to carry it for, well, what's set to be the next 45 minutes of racing.
We are now in the iRacing official period here. We've had the original 30 minutes. We're now in 45 minutes. So you're looking at the length of an IMSA, just over the length of a VRS race or a GT3 race. This is now into sprint category. We're just going to see a quick replay here. This is Frederick Roy here. Team Slow-Mo teammates just having a little bit of I'm going to say team orders. I like to have a little bit of fun with the drivers. I said that once before. They had a laugh. Just a little bit of just work there. Thomas Reiter will start to pull away from Albin Kjellberg there. It's unfortunate what's happened there. I'm also going to keep my eyes on because Campbell and Bennett and Daniel Sedgley have all come into the pits. Will they get overtaken? They will indeed. In fact, look at this. I'm just watching. Alex Gao has kept that lead. But what's important, what's really interesting in this pro field, look at that behind. That's the Urano BMW. That is Nicholas the Beach. What has he done for an outlap and an in-lap? Because he has made up 3 places just in the space of a pit stop. And I can't see. Well, he's taking 3 seconds less in the pits, I think, on my screen. That's 1 lap less, if I'm trying to think about it. Has the underfuel? Has he gone short to go long at the end? Am I thinking that, Edward? Are you thinking that? It does feel like that.
It could be the case. Is this going to work out, though, for the Urano Esports driver? It would be an absolutely inspired decision to get out. He's got clear track at the moment, and he's in a good space, isn't he? Currently only 2.6 seconds behind Alex Gao, who has been very strong at this stage of the race. And you know what? I think you could be right on the money there, mate. He's definitely looking like a good strategy call.
I think it's got to be that strategy. He had timed this right, and I think that may be what he wants. And remember, usually in these races, we see all the group racing at the start, and then once everyone's pitted the first time round, it starts to spread out a little bit. So these yellows that we normally see and oranges that we normally see in the pro field starts to just spread out a little bit. But it's still there elsewhere. Now we're going to see a replay here. There's an Albin Kjellberg. He has had that damage, and is this where he had the damage? There's an overtake going on here. He loses the back of the car, and there we go. Yeah, and I will say, once you see the glass broken on the back of a Ferrari, that to me just says that's a heavy impact. So it's clear that he's had a really bad impact, and I think that may have just been the end of him at the moment. And now this is Mark Bailey going down. What's it going to be here when you come to turn 5? Is it just taking too much speed in the corner. It is, and spins the car around. And that's the VRT. Almost does a full 360. That's a very nice spin. Not for the tires, but in terms of getting back on track, that is just what you want to see. Now, Nick Labiche, of course, we can just see has had that lead, has had that P2. Behind him was a battle, but here's another battle. Augusto Kulaskivi and Nicholas Nedelik are battling at the moment.
Yeah, this is ever-living exciting as we see close stuff between Wrights and Wills. Wills down the inside, but that's going to become the outside coming into turn 5. So, battle of the late breakers. Who's going to come out on top? Benny Wrights or Harry Wills, who's so close on the brakes. Harry Wills around the outside isn't able to make it stick. Benny Wrights holding on in the Effect Esports orange car, but that was a great fight between the pair of them in the pro class, battling for 8th place. And I'll tell you what, that Porsche is very, very good at getting stopped on the brakes. I think that was the real difference maker.
Yeah, you got to remember that the weight of the car and the engines at the back for the Porsche, does allow you to get that braking. Not one of my favorite things to be braking hard on a car like that. Everything feels a bit floaty. Not my style of thing, but it really does help a lot of people. They love having that braking effect. They can just do what they need. And that's a bad run at the carousel, though, and that no way is Harry Wills taking it. He's missed a 2-wide for a reason. He locked on the brakes. That is an overtake at the kink. Harry Wills is a man on a mission. Trying to climb up, he is now into P9 with a very risky, but a risk-reward move, it is said. Fantastic there from Harry Wills. He's noticed Mr. 2-wide. He'll take it 2-wide anywhere on track, and he really just put his elbows out there. Made the move on Danny Ratz. And he really is showing that he is here for serious. We make fun of him sometimes for his crashes. He knows it's all a bit of fun. But when he gets racing, this man is serious. That's a move.
Well, that is a move and a half, isn't it? Great stuff. Seeing the pair of them. The battles are going in thinker fast now. They've had their pit stops, so now they're trying to squabble a little bit in this early phase of their second stint so far this race.
That's foot
angle off the circuit, slow, getting passed by Nijli and Kashiami. What on earth kicked all that off, though? Was that a little bit of contact, perhaps, or just a mistake into the first corner? I think we're going to get a replay very shortly.
Yeah, I think it was just a mistake. It's almost a similar situation what happened earlier with one of the drivers. Here we go with the mistake. Did he go a little bit too hard? He does, yeah. Just loose at the back of the car. Traction says no, and unfortunately that puts him all the way down. It's not exactly the best of times to spin around, but he keeps everything alive. Look at Cody Pride right here being hit by Ethan Bass, trying to make a move on Ethan Bass, but he is unable to. Of course, these boys have taken the few laps. He retook the position, by the way. Ethan Bass did lose that lead. These two have been battling hard, and we'll see this replay right here. Look at Cody Pride. It's weird to see somebody get ahead and side by side of a Ford. Does make it work, though. Fantastic. And this is no longer a three-car battle in the Pro-Ams. You can see what it is in the back. Anyway, we've also got everywhere we look, there's battles. There's side by side. This is Henning Haig on Liam Ahern, or Sauerhug, sorry. All right, behind him. And going rallying does Henning Haig, and everybody will get by him. And that's going to be a tight battle. Can everybody get by? They do. Henning Haig may have to just hold on right here. We're looking at the back of David Meakin. Henning Haig is going side by side with Dylan Kitch. I think he gets it. He holds on to it. Is there going to be a little bit of a repeat here? Can one of them make a move? No. Well, I've never seen a jump happen there at the exit of turn 5. That's a new one to me. Didn't realise there was a little ramp, but Henning, you kept all four wheels on the ground at the same time. The Russian judges does give you an 8.9.
Good stuff, though, isn't it? Now, just up ahead, you can see the Norwegian flags proudly displayed on the wing end plates. They get up back now to those cars just up the road. Not too far from him, are they? He's definitely in with a shot. You can see a podium place in the AM class, materializing as again this fight for 9th in the pro class, in the overall standings as well. Potting up a touch of the grass on the exit from Martin. Could leave it vulnerable here as Augusto is fast approaching into turn 5, but lifting out. You can see the time delta extending now saving a bit of fuel, I think, is Kachiami.
You can just see as well, though, he realizes up ahead, the 2 seconds ahead is Harry Wood and Denny Rats. So he's thinking, if he starts to fuel save here, he's not looking at jumping just Nedlick. He's looking at what's happening in front of him. He's thinking about maybe he can jump those two. He's looking more positions ahead here. So the more he fuel saves, the more he's thinking to himself, I could probably get some positions here. It's really tempting. It's really tempting here. So we're just going to see a quick replay. This is Dylan Kinch here. What has happened to Dylan? Carl, wow. Carl just kicks to the left out of nowhere. Fights it. That's a really good save, actually. I mean, it doesn't look a lot, but that was such a nice little save here. And now, battle for P3. David Meekin does get side by side with Sauerhag. Sauerhag has to give it up, and again, another respectable overtake at T5. The boys are really keeping it nice and clean tonight. Knock on wood, because what's just happened, Dave Meekin's just gone. Oh dear, I've cursed him, man.
Oh dear, you have. I think you can firmly blame you for that one, Craig, mate. It's all on you. Nothing that David did wrong at all. Now, going further to the front, battle for the podium is on here as Sean Campbell is right up the rear of Alex Bennett, a driver that we did say could be challenging for the race lead, but since the pit stop phases has dropped back just a touch, Sean Campbell takes it to Fitzdy, really on a mission, touching the grass just a little bit on the turn in, getting squirrely on the exit as a result. We're going to challenge into turn 5, the real action zone we've seen all race long, but I don't think it'll be too long until we see the two of them really going for it at the end of this stint. I reckon that's when we're going to see Sean Campbell really go for it.
Yeah, you can just see him. He was lifting there. He thought about a late move, then realised, no, I'll just lift. It's okay. So he's just going to hold on to that. I'll tell you one thing I'm looking at right now. I've been looking at these lap times at the front of Alex Gow and Nicholas the Beach, and every lap I've seen, Nicholas is taking almost half a second out of Alex Gow. All of a sudden, Nicholas is not thinking fuel saving, because he knows the gap between him and P3, this is smart, the gap between him and P3 is 5 seconds. Now, I've done some crazy stuff with fuel before in races. I can't stay 5 seconds. I can't gain 5 seconds in a pit stop. It's only with pit entry and pit exit. And these guys are top drivers, so I doubt they're going to have a slow pit entry. Nicholas the Beach is starting to catch Alex Gall, so we'll keep an eye on that. There's the move, by the way, of Denny Rats on Harry Wills, as Denny finally gets by Harry. They are still battling, by the way. Harry Wills is not giving him an inch. We'll keep an eye on that. And here's Sean Campbell once again, down into Canada corner. He's lifting. He's looking at trying to overtake Alex Bennett with the fuel stops. And we haven't seen this a lot in the second pit stops, only in the first pit stop. So it's going to be really interesting. By the way, I was talking about that lead. That lead at the start of the lap was 1.9 between Alex and Nicholas. It's 1.4, another half a second. What's going on at the front? I think Nicholas is just gunning for it.
It really is. He's probably actually properly said, and we'll see how all of this materializes. Though there's so many battles to look at. You can see on the left-hand side a sea of oranges and yellows, means there's good fights up and down. But look at Sean Campbell. He's getting good lines. He's not using too much of the tyre either. You can see when he turns in, he doesn't ask a lot of the car on corner entry, guides it through. It means that towards the end of the race, he could be in a very nice spot in terms of tyre life and tyre performance. But like I say, Nick Lovish up towards the front, reeling in Alex Gold just a touch.
Yeah, now we're seeing James Pierce right here. These are the pro-ams. He's going side by side with Benson. Around the outside, James Pierce. Oh, and what's happened? There's an incident there with another car going off. But James Pierce is still side by side with Benson. Still side by side. That was Madison that went off here. This is a battle for P4, and they're still side by side. What's going to happen here? They come down into the moraine sweep, into turn 4. Pierce is trying to get as much as he can, side by side with Benson. Who's going to be the first one to blink? Who's the first one to give it up? Will Benson break early? He breaks early. He gives the space. He goes a little bit wide. He's going to be careful not to allow Will Richardson. You know what? He's got to run here. He may start looking for a move up into turn 6. Did he get late braking? He gets late braking. There's no overlap, though. Pierce makes that move. From going around the outside of turn 1. Wow. That's a great setup. We talked about set your overtakes up a few corners in advance. James Pierce just literally just pulled, well, almost a Sean Campbell there, setting it up around the outside fantastic for Pierce. That takes him to P4 after what happened there with Matheson. We'll probably see a replay in a minute. Calasimi, as you just see there, overtaking Nedlick as well on the timing tower. And there you go.
Trouble. He's out. Nedlick's just had a crash. I think maybe that was what happened to himself. And Kachiyami, there's plenty of replays to come through, but that was very surprising to see Martin usually out of the order there, out in a big incident. But look at Will Richardson. Oh, he thought about sending it, didn't he, on Benson, but wasn't quite able to find the space. And let's have a look here. Oh, and that was coming out of the kink. Oh, and he has contact with the number 5 as well involved. So not only is it Martin Nijlik, but also Max Furtwängler. Oh, and Max is had a very torrid time in this second stint. We saw him have a moment through the first corner. And now coming out the kink, there's just nothing he could do. We're going to have a look at one final time just to see how unsighted he was, because with the car spinning just ahead, it's so difficult, isn't it? Let's have a look through the kink. He sees the car in front spinning, goes one way, then wasn't quite sure which way the car is going to go, and then just gets a front face full of Lamborghini.
We talked about it, didn't we? We talked about the kink. We talked about what could happen there. It is a shame that we've had our own kink moment, and not what you want to see, unfortunately, there for them as well. I thought I just saw an overtake for the lead in the programs. I did, because Haddad has gone into the pits. Not sure what's happened there. I think he's gone for an early pit stop. Yeah, Haddad's come in for an early pit stop by the looks of it. He was leading the amateurs, and he will just go in as well. But it's just such a shame what has happened there. James Pierce getting a little bit squirrely out of turn 6. That will set up Benson to overtake him, but he gets back to the racing line, and Will Richardson unable to do anything with this. Richardson will have to be on the back of them. He will see a double toe. That will help him. A double toe when he gets down to the kettle bottoms into Canada corner. But at the moment, he's watching and getting dirty air as he comes around the carousel. Pierce looks like he wants to get that position back, though.
Here he does. So Pierce, he's got some good pace. He's shown his ability to overtake once before. Can he do it again, though? Coming through the kink. That's a good run. The time is close. Only a 10th back. Going now underneath that 10th marshal. But is it sensible to make a move into Canada corner when you've got the long start finish straight upcoming? I think that was the difference maker that saw James Pierce back out of it. But look to the inside anyway, maybe to throw off Benson, which he did. And now they go side by side through turn 13.
No.
James Pierce, that was something else. That was beautiful overtaking ability on display from James Pierce. And the number 23, he drove around the outside like he wasn't even there. Excellent driving.
That's overtake of the day. That's overtake of the day. You don't go around the outside of turn 13 and make it clean. That's just absolutely mind-blowing. You know, they're still battling. We're watching Cody Pride and Ethan Bass right now. Unfortunately, James Pierce has gone off. James Pierce is in the wall. What has happened here? Have they come together? They came together. The lighters are touching and the car said no. And James Pierce is in the pits. While we were watching this going on as well, that was a fantastic battle. It's such a shame that happened. We're going to watch this right here. And he goes for the move, and the car just, they touch, and he fights that car for so long, and it just puts him straight into the wall. Here we go. Was there a touch? I'm not entirely sure, but the car just reacted so weirdly. I've never seen a car react like that before. But that looks like it is a touch there. Might have been, well, I do always say I haven't got the best of internet, but might have been what happened there. That was a touch, and it was such a shame. It was such a touch. Here we go again. Ooh. Yeah, that's a touch, isn't it?
He turns to the inside, doesn't realise the car is still there, tries to back out of it, gets a slide on because of the weight distribution of the Porsche. After committing to a corner, it's very difficult to uncommit, and in doing so, the car gets a switch on and sends him into the wall. Unfortunate to see such a great fight taken away from us after what was an amazing move, wasn't it, around the outside through turn 13 unfortunately, from hero to zero, I think, in that scenario. But battling continues elsewhere across the fields. It's Chris Wally up behind fellow BMW driver of Patton Man for P8.
Yep, the Eclipse versus the Panda. And what is going to happen here? Patterman, he's having not in the best of times here at the moment. He's middle of the pack with the prize. It's interesting, we were talking all of these leaders of the championships, and all of them sounds a couple. Not been able to. Chris Wally goes off there. He'll take an off track as he goes wide of turn 13. He keeps the car under control as he just holds on to Patterman now. 27 minutes remaining. Pit window, is definitely open right now. The question really is, who takes the pits now is the question. We look at the pros, there's not a lot of gaps between the pro drivers, sans the leaders. There's not a lot going elsewhere. So are you going to get a fuel save? Maybe. We talked about Danny Ratz was going to go for a fuel save. Unfortunately, he's had a moment. Harry Wills, he can't fuel save. Not a lot of fuel saving is going to happen in the pros, but the pro-ams here, but you see the likes of Chris Wally here battling with Michael Patterman, and then elsewhere in the pro-ams. I think we'll see some fuel saving around here for the pro-ams, definitely, especially with the amateurs. Look at this queue! The train is still going on!
It is there, and it's close as ever. And Dylan Kinch for Tiki Simsport and Dave Meekin just up in front. Getting a good exit out of turn 3. Dylan Kinch could try and find a way through, but like you said, fuel saving is definitely something the drivers are focusing on now at this stage of the race. We do only have 30 minutes, half an hour remaining now in this race, or just under 30 minutes, closer to 25 minutes still to go here. So it's the time when the drivers start to think about possibly making their final pit stop or getting that track position in anticipation for that pit stop. So what will Dylan Kinch do? Is he going to save a bit of fuel? Is he going to go for it? He could do something we've seen drivers do time and time again, set up and move a few corners into advance as he comes now towards the carousel. Such a key area is because if you get a good run through here, it sets you up for the kink and then all the way down through into Canada corner.
Yeah, I've almost thought he was going to put his nose in there to try and force the issue around the carousel. Would have been interesting to see if he could have done that. He said he's just going to have to do a little bit of a lift, a little bit of a longer lift than he would like to because of the dirty air through the kink, but he gets it straight now. Does he have a run here? Well, I think that lift may have been a indicator. No, he's going to have to hold on as well. The little battle going ahead of him as well, as you can just see, we start to see it. That's Ingo Lapsian and David Meekin. They are all having their little, well, it doesn't look like it's a battle, but it started to just elongate. And again, another off track there for Dylan Kinch. These drivers are pushing the limit right here. And one of the best places to push the limit is, of course, turn 13. You want to go too wide, but there is a little bit of a hit there that could go to the floor. Now, Werner S here, what has happened here? That is, looks like he's gone off at turn 14. And yeah, he went off there, so that is unfortunate for Werner. Frederick Droy, though, here's another replay for Frederick. We're just going to see it. He loses the car, tries to keep it going. Keeps it going, but he does lose a lot of places. Now, Dylan Kinch, we'll keep watching this, and there is Werner S as well, fighting on 24 minutes. I got to ask that, when would you pit right now? Because there are gaps, there are battles happening. When do you pit? Do you drain the fuel tank, or do you think about undercutting right now?
It depends where you're on the track. If you're held up behind a car that you just can't seem to find a way through past, you pit, ideally, one lap before they do. Of course, you never know when they are going to pit, so it becomes a battle of trying to figure out what's going on, try and go as long as you can into the stint, but not too late to miss out an opportunity. But then if you're in front, you try and go for as long as you can. You try and go spend the most time with a short fuel tank, a less fuel inboard, means that the car's lighter and can go quicker. Then on the flip side, you could also try a different strategy and pit in a little bit earlier, not give the cars behind any tow, and then hope that your outlap is enough to stay in front. So again, I don't really know, is basically the short answer. The long answer was whatever on earth I just said.
I totally understood that, and I have been one of those drivers that has gone, maybe I should pit earlier. I've done the early pit, I've done the right to the end, and sometimes going right to the end does help me. You start to see some pits indicators there for the pros. Nicholas Madsen, Chris Wally is into the pits as well. So we'll see what they do. Some of these drivers at the front still going on. The gap at the front, by the way, we haven't talked about it, as Nicholas De Beach is right on the back of Alex Gow now. We haven't talked about it a lot. Another car going into the pits right there. I believe that is Dylan Kinch. It is indeed. Look at this. Look at this, though. Half a second. It was 0.3 of a second at one stage. Now, Nicholas hasn't been fuel saving. I don't know what Alex has been doing. So we got to keep an eye. We're going to have to keep an eye on what happens. What we do know, I remember, Nicholas took less fuel the first time around. If he's going to pit for fuel, it's going to be within the next 2 laps, I reckon. Don't quote me on that because my maths is not very good. I have a degree in accounting, by the way, but my maths isn't that good. I reckon Nicholas may be pitting in the next 2 laps.
Remind me to never hire you as my accountant. And if you're an accountant, not going to accountant, but I guess it's all done my calculators. You should be all right. I'll see about what we can do. But no, look at Alex Gall at the moment. And to be fair, you are bang on the money. Maybe your accounting skills are better than I gave you credit for because Nick Lovish comes into the pits.
I am right for a change. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. He comes into the pits, and that's a really good situation for him. Because I'm just looking at this track state, and the only issue is he may come out behind the Pro-Ams. That's the only thing he's got to worry about here. Does he come out ahead of the Pro-Ams or behind the Pro-Ams? There is a 4-second gap between the last Pro and the last Pro-Am, and in fact, just looking at it, it is indeed...
It's going to come out behind Pride at the least. Probably Sedgley as well. Might come out just behind Sedgley, which he does. And we look to Ethan Bass. He's not going to be behind Ethan. No, you actually could be behind Ethan Bass. We'll see on pit exit before GT comes through.
Now, something's happened. Sorry. I was going to say, something's happened to Ethan Bass. Ethan Bass had the lead at the Pro-Ams, and all of a sudden he's P2 by quite a distance. So something has happened in that Pro-Am battle between Daniel and Ethan or Cody Pry. I think we're about to see it. Here we go. Side by side as he goes for a move to retake the lead on Cody Pride. Comes into turn 5. And does he lose the back? Oh. He loses the back. Oh, Ethan. He's still P4. He's P4 now, and he's P3. Sorry, he's going to have to make the battle. But there is Nicholas Debiche. Yeah, not where he wanted to be. I've got to be brutally honest. I thought he would slot in somewhere, but he slotted in right in behind. Sorry, of this old school Ford. I mean, he gets a good look of a very nice Ford, but that's not where he wants. He wants to be ahead of that Ford as soon as possible.
Yeah, it is all about just trying to make sure you don't make any more mistakes now. It's so difficult, though. Ethan Bass, after doing a great drive early on, that one little mistake through turn 5 just shows how close the margins are for these class victories. Because with that, Ethan Bass has gone from first all the way down into 3rd place just from one little mistake. But Nick Lowish, he'll be hoping to have a good few laps here and try and close their margin to Alex Gall. While Alex isn't actually with him on the track, a few ways up the road, he's still going to be expected to come into the pits. Well, has to come to the pits for one final time. Nick actually seems to be catching Ethan Bass at a good time. Now, Ethan doesn't need to let through Nicholas Lobish if he doesn't want to. This is a battle for on-track position. No blue flags coming into effect. But still, if Nicholas wants to go for an overtake, he's going to get a nice bit of slipstream across the line. And to be fair, he has timed it all right, because into the pits comes Ethan Bass and Cody Pride as well. So the Pro-Ams start to make their pit stops as well.
Also interesting, Alex has not pitted, by the way. He's going to go +1. And he's now going +2 in terms of what Nicholas was doing. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. We're looking at Ingo Lapsian on Sauerberg as well for the battle for the last podium spot in the amateurs. We see some more Pro-Ams going into the pits on the timing tower. We should see some amateurs coming in very shortly as well, and I wonder if they start coming in. They start coming in. Welcome to the slowest race you'll see all day. It's a pit lane battle between these guys. It's going to be interesting to see who gets out first. I don't think any of them took an advantage when they came into the pit the first time around. We'll wait and see. Sean Campbell, though, is having a nice little battle. He hasn't picked it, sorry. I'll get it right in a minute. He's got Frederick Project right behind him. Now, Edward was saying about some of these drivers will be wanting to get a position before the pit stops. Frederick has been trying, but it's so hard in that Porsche to overtake that Texense BMW.
Yeah, it's definitely going quite nicely for Sean Campbell at the moment, but like you say, a bit of pressure from Frederick Prochez. So Plenty of things to consider for Sean Campbell in his hunt for podium places. Redrick's coming into the pits, as does Alex Gall, race leader now into the pit lane. So Alex Bennett will inherit the lead of the race for the moment. Has extended his stint quite nicely, to be fair, as in the race we are approaching the 1 hour mark. And that, of course, drivers who've been able to look after their fuel, look after the tyres, this is where their strategy starts to come to the forefront now after extending their stints just a bit.
Right.
And of course, actually, because they've extended their stints, they might spend less time stationary in the pits.
Well, we got to look where Nicholas the Beach is right now. Look at the Beach is coming across the start-finish line right now. I don't think Alex Gall has left the pit box yet. He just leaves the pit box. This is going to be tight. He comes out and we're going to have a Verstappen-Hamilton moment. We're not. Nicholas is going to try and go around the outside of turn 1. He can't. Slingshot. He will try the slingshot and cut back into turn 2, down to turn 2 into turn 3. All the slipstream, side by side, late braking, and from last to first, Nicholas the Beach will take the lead. And it's not over yet. He did not get a clean exit out of turn 3, and down the moraine sweep they go. He's going to be holding the line tight. Gall, Alex has that run, but you know there's going to be an overlap here when they come into turn 5. Nicholas has the inside, Alex has the outside, and Alex can't fight this, and Nicholas will take that, and he gets so much space, he's able to take a decent apex and get a really good exit. This battle in the last 16 minutes is not over. Just because Nicholas has got that lead, I don't think he's going to keep it. We got to keep eyes on this as much as we can, but this is not the only battle, of course. Remember, three classes we're looking at here. So many different battles. Nicholas the Beach, though, from last in the class straight to the lead.
Oh, this is absolutely amazing, isn't it? From Nick Labiche, the Urano Esports team, the number 94 BMW. We said, didn't we, it'd be an inspired decision if the strategy call works in his favour. And you know what? He's made it work. He's put in brilliant laps time after time, worked hard, got his head down, and coming back from, like you said, the back of the pro field, he's coming through to potentially take the race victory as we see, oh my word, what's going on here? You can see playing Matheson just coming to blows a little bit with Ethan Bass, and Richardson actually comes through to take advantage of Will Richardson in the 44 BMW, putting himself in a great position to take advantage. But all of a sudden, Ethan Bass's race is going from bad to worse. Finally, the fantastic board is starting to falter.
Wow, there is still 14 minutes and 38 seconds left. He can still do something. Cody Price is so far in the lead at the moment. I think he's taking a pistol. We'll have to keep an eye on that at the moment. This is a full car battle for second. That's right, for second. We're talking Fenny Matters, Will Richardson, Ethan Bass, and Thomas Reiter. We've got to keep our eyes elsewhere, though, because look at the pro battle. It's still tight here. Everywhere you look, there is battles going on. What can they do? They do inherit the lead once Bennett and Campbell pit, but they come down once again down the moraine straight. We'll keep eyes on that again in front of them. Amateur battle that goes Kaseki trying to make a move. He can't make that move around the outside of Mangarera. Mangarera will hold that position, but the cutback, can he make that cutback? No, he can't. There's a touch and a slide there, and I don't know if that was a touch. It looked like it, and Kaseki does go off onto the grass. Not sure what's happening there at the moment as they let the other drivers come through. Oh no. And that is the leaders. That is not what you want to see at the moment. That is right in the path of the leaders. This is going to be quite a challenge here. And I think also, while looking at this, I think Sean Campbell's just had a moment. No, he hasn't. Excuse me. I think he's just having a bad to worst moment. But the leaders at the moment, Alex Gall, Nicholas the Beach. That lap car may have just helped Nicholas a little bit.
It might have done, but that was just brilliant stuff, wasn't it? Excellent racing between all of these drivers. This is the battle, though, for currently P3 in the Pro-Ams. So Matheson, 12, or number 12 car, occupying that P3 spot, but he's not going to have the easy time of things because, of course, Richardson is trying to close that gap down, which he does underneath half a second. Now the BMW is really strong through these medium speed corners. It's coming as well into the carousel. You expect the Bimmer to be on a very good turn of pace here.
Oh, everywhere you look at the moment is just chaos in the good way, of course. The racing chaos is what you want to see. The respect the moves. Everything is just going so well for these drivers, but it is a tough fight. Let's look at this replay right here. This is Haddad. He's trying to make a move on Gasecki. It's going to be a late move. Gasekki's a bit slow. He does get it. Does he hold on to it? That's a tough one to hold on to with his extra speed. He makes it. Ethan Bath, by the way, while we were just watching that, he does make the move on Will Richardson. But here we go. P9, Sarnvis, Asjongland, and Kint. Sorry. That's one of the championship leaders, Dylan Kint. Not gone his way for the Lamborghini today. What is it? I thought the Lamborghini was fast, but we're not seeing a lot of them out there at the moment.
No, we are, which is a bit surprising, but I think this just isn't a circuit that plays to the Lamborghini's strength. While corner exit is something that Lamborghini is usually quite strong at, it's that top end where it starts to fall away, and of course here, that's what you kind of need a lot of, is top end straight line speed, because of how long you spend flat out here. Very similar, of course, to Daytona and Le Mans circuits we've already been to this season. Like not Bjornlund. The slow-mo up-node Ultra looking in his rearview mirrors quite a lot, though, going through the kink, maybe focusing on the road, hopefully for this corner, not looking too far behind, because of course we've seen drivers make mistakes a few times through that corner with disastrous consequences.
Yeah, he looks like he wants to make a move, but there is nowhere for him to go at the moment. He'll just have to tuck in, which isn't a bad thing. It just allows him to start thinking about, maybe I go for this up the straight, maybe I'll go on the start-finish straight, get a good run out of turn 14. That's what he's looking for right now. Does he get that good run out of turn 14? Goes in a little bit hard. That's really good. I thought he went a bit hard, but no, he really got onto that there. We might see Dylan make this move here. It's going to be interesting. Can he pull over and get this sorted? He's going to go. It's going to be late, but you know what? I think that damaged wing, he has got a slightly bent wing. I think that's affecting him here, and that's not the place. He really has to start thinking about making the moves at the intermediate corners. A bit more speed, and here you go. He gets a good run out of turn 1, but he can't do it. That wing is really affecting him, and it doesn't look a lot, but then when you get that position there you go. You can just see it. Yeah, that's a great camera angle there, just to show you there is a bit of crookedness on that wing. It's nice to have two Lamborghinis just to compare it to, and that's going to make Dylan struggle. Does he get him? He just can't do it. Before I even say the question, can he get to side by side? He can't do it. That is really affecting him that way.
It really is. Yeah, it's starting to struggle just a touch, but coming underneath the Corvette bridge, Magdalene Orland still holding on, but it's going to be a matter, I think, of how long, because you can just see how close they are. This is a replay of Ethan Bass now battling, trying to go down the inside through Canada corner. I think let's have a look here. Coming up now through into turn 13, he's able to take that position. But that was some very close fighting that he was able to win out on this occasion. So Ethan Bass finally getting something going his way, and you can still see a podium on the card. So it's not all over yet for the Ford GT driver.
Well, it's not. He's right on the back of Svenning Mathis as well right now, and he actually does have the run. He's been trying to threaten for this overtake for quite a while now, and he's going to have to, if he's going to do it, he's have to do it around the outside. This is going to be one hell of a move, and you know what? Svenny's giving him the space. Svenny's giving him the space. Has Ethan Bastard pulled a move off around the outside of turn 5? Maybe. Can he hold it on turn 6, though? That's going to be the crucial one. He can't. There's nowhere for him to turn into. Svenning will take that position back into turn 6. Nowhere to go for 7. Run yourself down to hurry downs. Hurry down. There's 8 minutes and 40 seconds left, Ethan. Are you going to sell the dummy? You can't. Look at Svenning. That fantastic defense in the middle of the track. It does compromise him, though, as they come to the carousel. And they're going to go side by side to the carousel. And Ethan thinks wisely not to. He's not going to pull a Harry Wills here into the kink, surely. But he gets a good run out of the carousel. Is there any overlap right here? There is a slight bit of overlap. Ethan's just going to lift, and then get on the throttle. While this is happening, there's Thomas Reiter right behind. He really wants to look at this right now. He's thinking about it. But Ethan Bass, does he get the run this time? Svenning is going to have to put the defense on. It's going to be late braking from Ethan. It's not happening. The more these two battle, the more cars get brought into the field here. And all of a sudden, a 2-car battle for P2, or P4, sorry. Look at the cars now. Look at everybody here. It is a P3, but look at all these cars now. It was a 2-car battle. It is now a 4-car battle. Can Ethan get by Svenning? That's the question. He hasn't got many laps left.
Well, This is a real grandstand finish to the race with 7.5 minutes still to go here. You can see battling up in front, Ethan Bass, Matheson, Reiter, all so close together. Thomas Reiter in the Panavan, 97 BMW. Ethan Bass right up behind the Lamborghini, occupying that third place spot in Pro-Ams, and he's got a good run as Ethan Bass. The Scotsman in the Ford GT trying to find a way to the inside, but isn't going to have to go through there. Instead forced to the outside into turn number 5. Hard on the brakes at the 200-meter board. Braking, slowing, turning, getting through around the outside. Hard on the power. Excellent move from Ethan Bass, but can he hold on underneath the Corvette bridge? Because there's a fight back from Matheson. Bass still keeps it side by side, and then gets the inside line again now into turn 7 and seals the move. Excellent move that by Ethan Bass.
Thought they were going to go free wide there for a moment. Sorry, I was starting to worry there. Can Ethan hold on to it? He goes a little bit wide. Look at the move they're making. 4 cars here battling for the last podium spot, and they're doing it. And I think now Svenny may have just cooked his tires a little bit here, because now he's under pressure for Thomas Reiter. And remember, if any of these cars make a mistake, Will Richardson's right behind them as well. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, what can Svenny do as he comes down to the kettle bottom? We're just seeing them as we go through the helicopter. Can he make a late move? He cannot. And everybody just get bunched up again. I'm also looking at the timing intervals here. I'm looking at this right now. They could be doing 35 laps. It may tick over to 36 if the pace gets stronger. Nicholas controls the fate of the field right now. That doesn't matter at the moment. The pro field, you're missing nothing. Look at all that yellow, that white. No close battles. This is the battle to be watching. We've even got a battle for the lead of the Pro-Ams, but right now, 4 cars for 3rd place. Please give it to me more. Please. I'm loving this right now.
Oh my word, look at Reiter. He's looking to the inside line, but isn't able to find his way through. But instead, he's going to take advantage. Yes, he does. Matheson overcooks it slightly into turn 1. Opens the door wide. Thomas Reiter steps on through, up into P4. Good move there. Thomas taking advantage, being nice and committed to get up into P4. But is he going to stay there? Because looking back, you can see Matheson in the slipstream, closing down, closing up to the rear bumper of the BMW. Gonna look now, all touch into the braking zone. That was very worrying, and actually that's pushed Reiter wide. That has given the position to Matheson. He's not happy about it. You can see a flash of the headlight. That's right, to the Austrian driver, not pleased at all with that. You can see just how annoyed he is. Flashing the headlights at every opportunity.
That almost took 2 drivers out there. He did so well to avoid hitting Ethan there. He almost came in collision with Ethan there, and that would have been unfair to all of those drivers for what happened. But he manages to hold on to it, and unfortunately, he does lose that position, Reiter. But he has this pace, and you can see he's able to send it in a little bit deeper into the corners with this BMW. He's able to just get a bit more control for these corners. Just weave that car around. He's doing what he needs to do. We'll get back to that, of course. Liam Ahern, though, is in a battle to save his lead. That's right. There's a battle in the amateur championship lead as well. There's battles everywhere. I'm losing track here. This is Liam Ahern. This is Henning Haig. It's VRT versus Slow-Mo. This is an age-old battle now that's happened for a couple seasons now in the league. What can they do? We're not going to see any moves at the King. But this Audi, we were talking, not an Audi, sorry, we were talking about the Audi earlier in the race. We were talking, what happens? Can they do anything? They weren't exactly as strong as the Lamborghini. You know what? He's trying it. He's trying the best he can. He put in a 2:06.133 last lap. 7 tenths faster than Liam Ahern. That's what's got him back onto this right now. He's really going to go. And by the way, Matheson has let Reiter by. Not sure what's happened there, but Matheson's let Reiter by. So I'm wondering what's happened there. I think that may have just been a little bit of sportsmanship. We'll keep an eye on that as well. That's some really nice sportsmanship. You going to see the replay here?
You can see he lifts into turn 1. Massive lift from Thomas. Great sportsman-like driving. But he also sets himself up, not so sportsmanlike, to try and take that position back perhaps now into turn 5. But look at this. Liam Ahern, the battle for the AM class lead and the inside of Henning Haug. Oh, this is exciting stuff. Liam Ahern, the lead of the race is his, but for how long? Time is ticking down on the clock. Aren't too many more opportunities for how to try and get through. He's going to try and take one of them, though, coming into turn number 5. Down the hill they will go onto the brakes nice and hard around the outside. Can the Audi hold it? No, he can't. The MW slots himself back up into P1. This is a great fight going on here. There's so much happening, and actually coming up into turn number 9. Oh, there's contact. That was a late move. I don't think it was ever going to work, and unfortunately, that sent Liam Ahern into the wall all of a sudden. Now it's, oh my word, Ingo Lapsian coming up through into P2, possibly even into the lead of the race.
Wow, that was a little bit of a move there. Was not expecting that. A little bit of a late move there from Liam Ahern. That's a bit unfortunate what's happened there. But let's get back to the lead battle of the Pro-Am. We've not been talking about it. We've been talking about the rest of the battle. This is interesting as well. Daniel Sedgley, Cody Pride. This is the last lap of the race. And it's going to be a close one as well. These guys have been battling. They've been so close for most of this, well, last half of this race. But they've just pulled so far ahead of the likes of Ethan Bass and Reiter and Richardson that they've just been going hard. This is the BMW GazX racing team of Daniel Sedgley. You've got the Liquid Molly Porsche right behind of Cody Pride. What can Pride do? He's not able to get the toe away from Daniel Sedgley. And we just can't, just looking at this, can he get this? He's unable to. He's unable to pull ahead. And if you're unable to pull ahead at the Marine Sweep, are you going to be able to pull it ahead anywhere else, I wonder?
I don't know. That's the question, isn't it? We have seen drivers try and make moves into Canada corner. That could be the last chance for Cody Pride to get up into the lead of the Pro Class right at the death. But also focusing on the fight in the Pro Class. Well, what a drive it has been from this man, Nick Labiche. After an amazing strategy call early on in the race, it's worked wonders for the Urano Esports driver. He's got one final corner to go, and he will take race victory here at Road Atlanta.
From the last in
Road
the
America.
From the last in the class to first, Nick Labiche will take what a win. What a win. And Alex Gow will take P2. Alex Bennett will come across in P3, and Sean Campbell will take 4th place. We're going to get back to that battle as well, by the way. Daniel Sedgley, Cody Pride, they are still battling. Cody's not been able to get it. Look at him slide the back of that Porsche out. I don't think he's got anything left. The gap is half a second. This is still look at him. He's pushing that car to the point he's on the grass. He's trying everything, and he slid off. He slid off into the wall, into the barrier goes Cody Pride. Can he get the car back going? He's been 10 seconds behind. 8 seconds, 9 seconds. Can Cody hold on to P2? I don't think so. It's going to be a very slow drive. He's going to hold on to it. That with a bit of late drama there. Cody will take P2. Daniel Sedgley wins the Pro-Am. Ethan Bass recovers the P3. Thomas Reiter will take P4. Is there a battle still for the lead in the amateurs? There isn't, but there's a battle for 2nd and 3rd.
Oh, it's kicking off here. Ingo Lapsian. Well, Ingo Lapsian rather down, looking for a move on the inside in Canada corner, but it's just too late in the day. And after leading the class is going to be a little bit upset, I think, to lose out on this occasion following that incident into turn number 6. That might be investigated post-race. But what a drive it has been from Ingo Lapsian, actually, for NGB Performance, coming up through into P20 or P3 in class. Cracking drive from the driver of the Porsche.
What a race. We're going to see the rest of the positions just come on by now. I'm lost for words. I'm absolutely lost. That was some fantastic racing all the way around. We're going to get 29 cars on the lead lap, by the way, which when you think we started with 47, that's a good number. That just shows how good the racing's been. Magma Yonland's going to be the last car to cross the line overall. There's Ola Samvis, and then it'll be Magna Yonland. That is the entirety of the field. I mean, I'm out of breath at the fantastic racing we've seen. I mean, where do you start from the racing, from the Pro-Ams, from Ethan Bass's recovery to the pros with, with Nick Labiche, the amateurs there, the late drama in the amateurs. I mean, you look everywhere. I just don't know where you look. I'm just going to bring in, because while we're talking about it, of course, Nicholas the Beach is here with us. Nicholas went from last to first, and Nick, I think it's that first pit stop, because it looked like you took a short fuel stop. Is that correct? I think. Okay, sorry. I was saying, did you take an early pit stop on that? Did you take did you short fuel? Did you take less fuel on the first pit stop in that race?
Yeah. As I was seeing that I was behind, I think it was Alex and Sean. I didn't really want to save any fuel, and then I decided to fuel 10 liters less so I can get away from them and maybe even catch to Alex. And this worked out extremely good. I knew that I had to fuel a bit more in the next stint, but it also completely worked out for me.
Yeah, we did see you came out in the second pit stop in the middle of the Pro-Ams. I thought that was going to be a little bit of a worry there, but it didn't turn out for you. You had the pace all day. How was it, though? Because you had to start at the back. Did you have any issue? Because that was kind of a scary ride to get to the front, especially with some of the incidents going on.
Well, for me, it was 50-50. I knew I wanted to invalidate the first lap because I see this year as a fun league, and I want to have as much fun as possible. And last time in Le Mans, it would have been a lot of fun starting from the back. There, I did it not on purpose, but this time I 50-50 did. Maybe I was a bit too much on the throttle in that really fast right-hander there. But I always wanted to have a lot of fun in this league, and there's no better way to do this than start from the back.
So, of course, I mean, let's look ahead quickly to next week. It's Spa. We'll definitely be seeing you at the back there. How quickly do you think you can work your way up the field then when it comes to Spa compared to today?
Yeah, Spa, I am not quite sure how good the BMW is there. But if it's pretty decent there, I think I will try my best. But Spa is also a track where everybody is extremely good. It's probably the most driven track on iRacing and probably also the most liked in the world. So I guess people are going to practice a lot more because it's more fun. And it's definitely going to be harder.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what you can do once again. It's always great watching you race. Before we let you go, because I know it is a little bit late, have you got any shout-outs, of course?
Yeah, of course. Thanks to Ran and our sponsors, HKM, Huawei, and Heineken Media.
Well, Nicholas, congratulations for what I thought was a fantastic drive today. It's really good strategy worked out there for you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Congratulations to Nicholas once again. Have a good evening, Nicholas, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
I don't think we're going to get any more interviews at the moment. It was nice speaking to Nicholas, as per usual. Unfortunately, the last time we tried to talk to him, his microphone was broken, so he was unable to speak to us. It is nice to go for it. I think it'd be nice to just quickly go over those results as well, because there was so many battles going on throughout the race that it was just so hard to... again, we were looking at so many different things that we were also chopping and changing. It was just so close on overall in the race, so... I don't know if we can get the standing up at the moment, but we can. Of course, you saw Nick Labiche did win the pros, and we do know the amateurs the pro-ams was won by Daniel Sedgley, and the amateurs were won by Henning Hay. Do we have any more interview? Unfortunately, we don't. I think, Edward, we may have to wrap it up there.
Yeah, I think we do, but still, what an exciting evening. Road America doesn't disappoint. It never does. What a drive that was, though, from Nick Labiche coming up through the field to take the race victory. The strategy call worked wonders for him, but then also we saw some great battles, especially in the Pro-Am classing. He was essentially just able to take last victory ahead of Cody Pride with Ethan Bass. Unfortunately, the Ford wasn't able to hold on to the front, was it, Craig? But still, cracking drive from Ethan nonetheless.
It was fantastic from me, from fantastic everywhere as well. James Pierce, having one of the moves of the day, and unfortunately it did not work out at the end with what happened, but it was fantastic watching some of those moves. I've seen some moves today I never thought I'd see. Even Harry Wills overtaking at the kink. I can't believe I saw that full stop. But it was fantastic. But of course, I think we should really just call it a night there, because it's fantastic once again to see the Race Anywhere World Series. My thank you once again to Daniel Hanover on the camera. Once again, get well soon, my friend. And thank you for Edward stepping in with me on the microphone tonight. Once again, a shout out to Race Anywhere at their website, raceanywhere.co.uk, and of course the other sponsors of the series, Sim3D as well. And I'll link underneath the video as well to the league and also our broadcast. Until then, though, next week we will see you at Spa. Later tonight will be the Transatlantic Series. That promises to be fun. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That thumbs up for the algorithm. We will look forward to seeing you the next time Absolute Sim Racing goes live. But from me, and Edward from the night, and Daniel, have a good evening and take care, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening.